Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Roll20 Presents D&D Adventurers League. It's a big 20 this episode. 2-0.
Is it really? Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Welcome,
Are
everyone.
we doing? Is it a special edition? Is it a very special episode of?
No,
We'll
that's
see.
the next one. Then D&D will be old enough to drink.
I was gonna say, is this our episode about substance abuse or gambling? Or something?
Yeah. Today, on a very special episode of Dungeons and Dragons.
We had a fun time on Dungeons and Dragons today, but we'd like to talk to you about something serious.
Magical potion abuse. It's a real problem. It's right. You're all still
one out of every 3 people. You know? And like the actual characters from the
yeah, it's the characters. You stay in character, but you break
Yeah.
the fourth wall.
Exactly.
Oh, I love that shit.
If I was in character as Oleander, I would be like, I don't care, you can all die.
I just love the idea of like Lane being like, "Excuse me, let me talk to you for a moment about evil. Evil's very bad. All right,
Yeah, totally.
don't be
Did
evil."
you know
kids."
that 1 in 7 high school students has tried evil?
You're getting
You would
peer-
not.
the whole side story is about like a kid who's being peer pressured into being chaotic evil.
Yeah, it's a gateway to new alignment.
Yeah,
You know,
neutral
like-
evil is the gateway drug.
Come on, man, just try being neutral evil. It's not so bad.
Yeah, you know, it's a really soft core. You know,
Oh, I needed that. I needed that this morning. Thank you.
That was a good giggle.
After school special version of D&D Adventurers League. Oh boy, that's some good stuff. How's
we
everybody
do this
doing?
because we love you, Adam.
It's been a little while. I'm sick. I'm sick as hell right now. I'm all
Yeah.
hepped up on. So, can I tell you a story? Can I tell you a cold medication
Yes, tell us a story. Regale
So,
us.
okay.
Yes, tell us about your drug abuse.
Let's talk about the dangers of taking cold medication when you're tired. So this morning I woke up and not feeling well, but well enough to play Dungeons and Dragons with you people, because D&D and y'all give me life. I was like, all right, I just need to take some medication. Give it like an hour to kick in. I'll be fine when we play. So I go to the medicine cabinet and I take out the cold and flu medication I bought yesterday, and I take the one that I think is the correct one based on the color. And I'm like, cool. And then I look at the package and I'm like, oh, cool. The daytime ones are blue and the nighttime ones are orange. Thanks. Drugs. So I'm all like groggy and tired now. But like, seriously, who does that? What kind of user experience is that? Unfair. It's a mean trick.
Unfair user experience.
Yeah, it's some bullshit.
You better
What?
call up their offices and let
feel
them know
that
how you feel.
blue is the color of sleep.
Like
Because that's what every other cold medicine supplier
yeah,
does.
the darker color is for nighttime, and the brighter color, the color of, I don't know, the sun, is the daytime
I mean-
one.
But the color of the daytime sky is blue,
So what's the yellow?
and the color of
The nighttime
incandescent
sky.
lights
moon?
at night is orange.
No, Andrew.
I mean,
You go with what everyone else is doing, because we all know that that's what you do in everything. Just do what everyone else is doing.
I mean,
And what
side
everyone
note,
else is doing is Dayquil is orange and NyQuil
Yeah,
is
you can't even say
blue.
Dayquil on this channel. That's an unsponsored advertisement.
yeah,
I'm gonna get this thing torn down.
like, side note, I generally try and read the package of drugs I'm taking. That's the
Listen,
thing I
if
do.
I were not like exhausted and what have you, I probably would have paid more attention. But
Yeah,
I
no,
just
I feel
I
you.
went with my brain. I was like, oh yeah, okay, orange, the daytime one.
Your brain preempted your better judgment
Yeah.
by just being like, "It's that stupid. Just take the pill."
Is that a low wisdom roll there?
that is.
I mean, that would have
There
been.
you go. Oh.
Exhausted and sick and having like.
I mean, that's
like,
perception
the lowest
negatives,
wisdom.
right? Like,
It would
that's
be
what-
it would be like a perception roll with disadvantage.
Yeah.
that you fail.
But it's also that the GM is bullshit. Like the GM's an asshole. That's like the GM being like,
No. The source
Wow.
material is bullshit.
You know,
The GM was
I
like, it
don't
says
have
in here
any
that the
experience
daytime one
with
from
the
The GM
rules.
provided you with all the information required. You just chose not to pursue it.
you say that as though the GM is like a person who didn't invent all that information. But yes, if life is a
I mean,
if
true.
life if life is a
Does.
pre-generated adventure, the adventure was written to be misguiding. Speaking of badly written adventures,
See, I'm giving you
Wow,
segues. I'm
that's-
giving you segues.
speaking of badly written
Wow.
adventures, can we talk
That's well
about
done.
Tales from the Yawning Portal for a second? So
What?
the portal to Yanni.
Yeah, Tales from the Yanni portal. The guy on the cover kind of looks like Yanni.
Not a coincidence, I'm sure.
The Twitter sphere has been all abuzz this morning with people talking about this new D&D supplement. Following in the usual footsteps that D&D like 5th edition has done, it's a series of adventures. I don't know. Looking at it, it doesn't seem like it's going to have any additional material, which is kind of a shame because that's the stuff that I like from those. But it's called Tales from the Yawning Portal. And it's time for the filler episode of 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons because it's a reprint and update of 7 of their classic adventures from the history of D&D, which sometimes I'm excited about, other times not so much. But the list is kind of hit and miss and has some stuff in here that's actually kind of interesting. There's some adventures here I've never played because they fall kind of late in the game, but it contains apparently Against the Giants, which is like kind of the classic adventure arc where you fight giants in 1st edition. That one's kind of good. Dead in Thay, which I had never heard of before today. Forge of Fury and Sunless Citadel, which I guess are 3rd edition adventures.
Apparently.
White Plume Mountain and Hidden Shrine of Tomoa-chan, which are actually both pretty good. They're pretty good, like AD&D adventures. And God forbid, Wizards of the Coast, you ever release a collection of updated adventures without putting the cherry on the top of this steaming pile of garbage and re-updating Tomb of Horrors. Why? Why, Wizards? Why? I don't understand. I hate that adventure so much, but the rest of it looks like it could be cool.
Because they really like it when people just die.
Why don't they re-release Keep on the Borderlands?
Yeah, right? I mean, like even that would be I think they updated it for 3rd, but like basically every old adventure has gotten an update now. And Tomb of Horrors has gotten like 6.
How would that work? If we did Keep on the Borderlands again, I would have been from the past, go to the future, and go back to the future past.
Yeah, it's return.
Do I keep the level or we start again?
It's going to be some Aqua Teen Hunger Force style time travel Where we go 10,000 years backwards in time to the future.
Yeah. Return to the Keep on the Borderlands, which isn't really the Borderlands anymore. It's kind of like the middle of the country now. Everyone's moved on. There's a mall there.
Yeah, it's Keep in the Heartlands.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean,
everyone's a hillbilly.
I'm pretty into the idea of Tomo-chan and White Plume and Against the Giants all getting updates because those are fun. They're gonna be hard to balance for 5th edition, but like Tomb of Horrors as a 5e adventure, like it was bad in 1st edition. I can't even imagine like taking the lethality out.
Or the uninitiated. Can you explain what is bad about Tomb of Horrors? Because I've never played it. I haven't heard anything about it.
Wait, I have one point first, which is my new headcanon in that this actually did happen. And the reason that the Shadow survived 1st edition is because he was actually secretly being helped by himself from the future who went back in time.
Perfect. That's great. Good. So what we'll do is we'll do Keep on the Borderlands in 5th edition, and your other characters will be there, and you'll secretly be in the background, all Cyrano de Bergerac, helping yourself out. Terrifying.
Yep. That'd be so good.
It's going to be like the movie Looper. Everyone's going to love it.
Yeah.
That is not like the movie Looper.
Tomb of Horrors, just real quick, is like it exists in a sort of different space for adventure design in that it was a high level adventure, but it was meant to be played kind of at conventions or in tournaments, and it was very mean spirited and kind of like there are a lot of things where you're intentionally misled, right? Where they're like, you see 2 orange pills on the counter, and it's designed to basically fuck over the players, to be like, ha, gotcha, you're dead, get out. Who's next? Okay, you're dead too, get out. And it doesn't feel like it feels like an unfair advantage for the GM. There's all of these things that don't make it a competition, that just make it like the GM trying to kill you. And as a result, if you know that you're playing Tomb of Horrors, players tend to play like hyper conservatively and nitpicky, and it just devolves into arguments about what was where and who touched what, and it's die over and over and over till you memorize it, and then 3 years later you win the Tomb of Horrors tournament and you're the best worst nerd.
Okay, so to continue like getting off track with the thing that you're talking about and going back to my thing again, it was pointed out there was a randomly rolled like rogue character called the Razor who came from Mirror City. It actually happened.
I do like that you know, Dave, you have your headcanon for the game, and that Blue Jay is shipping dead characters together.
Always.
The self-inflicted fandom is
Yeah,
quite
I
nice.
mean, forever. I mean, if you can't be a fan of the thing you're making, then how could you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's the thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't generally respond to the death of my characters by thinking about them becoming romantically involved with other characters, but
I mean,
Well,
however you wanna
we
cope.
talked about that.
I mean, me
before
and
they
Blue
died.
Jay, I swear, we had a conversation
I
at TwitchCon.
Literally
At TwitchCon
said,
where we were like, we're gonna do this thing. We're gonna.
and I
like,
literally
happen.
said it would take you dying for Saris to realize how she feels about you.
And then we died.
Beautiful. It's a love
So
story. A love
that
story
it
to
had to happen. It was fated.
love story to span the ages. Well, I mean, I'll probably pick up this adventure thing and give it a flip flop. And if Hidden Shrine of Timo-chan or White Plume Mountain look cool, maybe we can pay them a visit. They're pretty cool adventures in first edition. And if somebody else wanted to do the work to update them to fifth edition, I'm happy to have that.
So is the Hidden Shrine one like a Japanese adventure?
No, I know it
Samurai
sounds.
Pen?
Yeah, it sounds like it's the hidden shrine of a young girl in Japan.
Right? That's what I'm understanding.
It's kind of, if I remember it correctly, it's kind of like Aztec-y in its inspiration.
Okay, so it's a weird. It would be like
Legend of the Hidden Temple.
Temple or something.
Yeah, like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think there's a coatl in it. There's definitely like some frogmen, if I remember
Okay.
it correctly. And it's one of those adventures.
Right,
that's-
of course. So the Central American frogmen.
Well, they're like tree frogs, like poison tree frogs, right, from the Amazon. It's a thing. I don't know.
There's a lot of animals and frogs and insects in the Amazon. Yeah.
I mean, it's true, but just also,
What I
of course.
what I think is cool about it is that it starts on the surface as like it's kind of like that Judges Guild one that's really good. That I can't remember the name of, but it starts as a dungeon on the surface, but underneath there's like a city, and you can interact with a bunch of factions, and it's like a lot bigger than it looks on the top level. I just wonder about like the lethality of the game is so different now than it was in first edition. Like Tomb of Horrors, the whole point is cool.
Like
you,
everything kills you.
yeah, you get hit by a lightning bolt, you die, no save. You step on the wrong tile, dead, no save. Right? But fifth edition explicitly doesn't do that. So
You give Adam control of someone who can cast Summon Monster, and he uses the most bullshit crocodile thing in the entire world. Twice. Twice. No saves.
hey, listen, I was playing by the rules. Just because you can't fight 8 crocodiles at once isn't my problem. You're lucky I didn't cast them in a row. I saved one.
So today's episode of Dungeons and Dragons was great. We all killed the GM. It was much fun.
You couldn't have made 8 crocodiles at once, Adam, because it's a concentration spell.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's
You
very
could have 2 of the shaman.
Yeah, you would have
Yeah,
to
you just make 2 casters and then you do it.
Well, and
Yeah.
that's the great thing about the CR system is that what, like four lizardmen shaman is like a CR2 encounter, and then that gives me what, 16 crocodiles
16 crocodiles.
for no additional cost. Man,
Yeah,
order now.
CR is devoid of any context.
Oh
right?
man, I'm done. I'm so done. I'm
Order
gonna
now and
die.
receive 3 extra crocodiles
God.
plus
Like,
shipping and
let's
handling.
see a 8 million CR encounter that's just like infinity kobolds, but we're in a 5-foot hallway and they can only come at us one at a time, and we have our paladin in the thing.
Well, and that's
Infinity.
I mean that's why trying to build a mechanic that balances that stuff in a game where anything is possible is an incredibly challenging design task.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because it's like you can't when we've talked about this before, you can't balance player skill into CR because you give 3 or 4 different groups the same characters and they're going to run through these kinds of adventures very differently. So it does
Right,
require
there's
a lot
this-
of kind of on the fly stuff.
Infinity kobolds, otherwise known as my chat.
Infinity.
Yeah, I'll kill all of your chat if you want.
Yeah, I mean,
There's-
just stand in a 5-foot corridor and let them come to you. It's fine.
Yeah, but like speaking of spellcasters and CR, there's this weird idea that for them to like the way that enemy spellcasters are balanced, they have a higher like spellcaster level than the people in your party. So there's this conceit that they for some reason aren't going to cast all their best spells in a row to just try and kill you, and that your GM isn't trying to like beat you, and it's weird. It just doesn't.
Yeah, it's odd.
Like what CR is a guy who can summon 8 crocodiles?
Well, so it's not 8. It's not 8 crocodiles. It's 4.
But he has the spell twice.
Yes, but not at once. They're very.
I know,
it's very
but like
different.
the fact is he can do that.
Let me see.
How difficult is he supposed to be versus like the difficulty of the crocodiles? Just if they were just crocodiles and not summoned creatures.
So a lizard man shaman. Lizard folk shaman is a CR2 creature. So for
And
y'all,
what CR are 8 crocodiles?
let me see. So y'all are level 3, 4.
3,
What's your average level right now?
3.5.
Okay, we'll call it 4. So a single lizard folk shaman is no big deal. It's lower than an easy encounter for you, and it's CR2. And then four crocodiles on their own. Crocodiles are CR 1/2. Is
So this would be CR2.
not really. It's not really equivalent to a CR2 because you multiply them. Its adjusted XP is 800. It's basically twice as hard as 4 crocodiles are twice as hard as 1 lizard folk shaman. So if I
So 8 crocodiles plus a lizard folk. Yeah, that seems.
well, no,
really
but that's the trick, right? Is that the CR doesn't account for the summoned creatures because the lizard folk shaman doesn't inherently have to cast the crocodile summoning spell, but it makes the most sense to
But you know he's going to.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's why it's weird, because there's this disconnect between the actual power of the character as a spellcaster that can cast higher level spells than the party, and the GM having to just kind of like be like, I'm going to be like merciful with the spells.
I mean,
It's like, if
Yeah,
they were
at
trying
that
to
point,
kill
do you have to play him like he's CR2
Well, so-
versus CR
yeah.
like 8 or whatever?
I
Like,
wonder about that. Like, do you think that the intention is that the players play their characters as like pieces in the game to like win fights, and the GM plays their characters as fictionally realized elements of an ongoing narrative? Like, players don't tend to run just because they think they might lose. They measure the mechanics of the fight and are like, okay, we could probably still win this. Whereas if the lizard folk takes 1 damage, I could be like, oh, he's a scared lizard folk and he runs off. You broke his concentration. He's going to try to flee. Like, that part doesn't enter into the CR. So you kind of have to assume that everybody is playing judging by the mechanics. In which
And
case,
also you're metagaming at that point, and you're fired from story games forever, and you can't play.
oh no, not the hallowed halls of story gaming.
The most telling part of that, I think, is that I've only read them like a bit, but I don't think there's a mechanic like there was in first edition for when you either take damage or lose a certain amount of dudes in your group as an enemy to make saves
Like morale
against
checks, yeah.
Yeah, morale checks. Yeah.
fifth edition, which makes sense as a thing because I do it in my games all the time, but it's just ad hoc because it doesn't exist in 5th edition as is. So it's like here's one bit, which is what Adam's saying about you've got to decide, are the players and the NPCs going to just be like pawns and you're basically playing a game of trying to win, or are you trying to do this like realism thing? And they kind of like
Both of those things are happening at the same time all the time, right? Like people wear both hats.
Yeah. It's
Exactly.
it's a tricky thing to juggle both of those.
and guess what? 5th edition doesn't have rules on this side. No morale checks, like
No role-playing mechanics.
balancing.
Yeah, well,
spellcasters.
morale in first edition was a real simple. Like it triggered at very specific intervals.
50%.
Yeah, it triggered at specific intervals in a fight. It was triggered on the first time that they lost a character. Right? First time someone died, where they're like, "Oh, you just killed somebody that I know, and I have to roll morale." Or it triggered at half. And you knew exactly when to roll it, and it was basically like if they failed the morale check, they run off. And
It's very much a like wargaming thing.
it's totally a wargaming thing. Yeah, so you just check morale on your units and see whether you're allowed to continue controlling them.
Yeah.
And if not, they flee for X amount of whatever. Yeah, and
Right,
it's
Chet makes a good point. That should totally be as part of CR. If you're bandits and you're attacking a group of adventurers, as soon as one of your guys dies from a crit that does 50 health when you've got 12, you should probably just fuck off, but they're not going to.
yeah, well, because you're supposed to. It's supposed to be a role play oriented decision, right, where that stuff happens. But it's just interesting. It's a thing that I think in really any mechanically focused role playing game, you end up in that position where you have to kind of make those decisions as a group and how you play it.
I mean, speaking of mechanical decisions, does anybody change anything about their characters?
Let's
since
talk about
last time? Just segueing, as
I made a mechanical decision.
Mm-hmm.
Did.
Fuck Rangers is my mechanical decision.
A fair decision.
From everything I've ever read, you're right. Yeah, do that.
Well, I mean, because I hadn't ever looked at Fighter until you guys brought Fighter up, and it literally has the same like combat choices plus more and better, and the extras for Ranger is like a very limited spell casting and absolutely useless like land ties stuff. Like it is useless, and it's just like, okay, like why, like I just, yeah.
Welcome to the real world.
I sat deliberating between all of these lovely arcane spellcaster classes that I wanted to decide whether one was better for me or not. And I'm still sitting here like staring at various things, being like, do I change something at the last minute here? Like, should I be a bard now? Is that better for us, for me and my experience? And I for the life of me can't figure out what would be more effective, so I'm just a warlock still.
That's fair. It's fine. You've got the rest of this level to
Eldritch Blast.
I mean, we have till level 5. She's got 2 levels.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're a little behind. Okay. Cool.
And we're a little behind because we died.
Yeah, where's everybody at experience wise right now? Because I know now, like Oleander and Anastasia, you have the same XP, right?
Oh, yeah, we do. Yeah.
Yeah, we're at 2490 out of 2700.
I am now in the lead because
it's a race.
momentary lapse of being alive.
Yep.
I like how
brief stint of
the cleric, who is the one who doles out the healing, is like, oh, I'm in the lead now because you died. How did that happen?
Yeah.
I wanted
also,
to be able to heal, but I don't have the good spells for it.
I also, in the 10 minutes before the show started, while we were all muted and whatever, briefly considered just becoming a rogue.
Just reconsider your life and become a rogue.
Like, why do I do this to myself every time? Like,
throw that demonic tome in the river.
Just become an assassination rogue and just have the highest damage ever, always.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's an option.
Been
Certainly.
playing too much blades. That's kind of
That's what it is. Yeah. But no, I'm not doing it. I swear.
Anyway, I have scimitars now. Yeah.
Nice.
How many scimitars do you have?
2.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And what
Are you a drow with 2 scimitars?
what race are you?
Oh
Good.
no, I didn't even consider that when I said yay. Oh!
Oh boy. Yep. Good stuff. I don't think you can dual wield scimitars anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're light.
You can. They're finesse and light.
Oh, good. Perfect. Fantastic.
No, I'm still gonna use my bow. I just don't want my GM, who knows that I'm a ranged fighter, backing me into a corner all the time with up in my face.
I mean, they're reasonable weapons. There's a reason that Mr. Doerden uses 2 of them.
Mr. Doerden.
Yeah, Tyler Doerden. Oh boy.
Now I really want to see a drow character named Tyler Doerden.
All right. So
I once made a samurai in Pathfinder called Katanye West.
Katanye West.
Good.
Oh my god, I'm
Good.
dying.
You know that we're recording this, and your embarrassing stories about your terrible character choices are being broadcast on the internet.
I have
right?
made thousands of characters in various different systems. One of them is gonna be Katanye West. Okay,
I have such good characters. I have all the characters.
Let's be honest.
All right, so Oleander, you've gone fighter. You're a 3rd level fighter. What choices have you made about your fighteriness?
I'm still fighting style archery. My archetype is battle master. I took 3 maneuvers, which are On here, Commander's Strike, so I can tell Lane to do things for me. Precision attack and menacing attack because I'm a scary drow and people are scared of me.
Excellent.
Mhm.
All right, Commander Strike, Precision Attack, and Menacing Attack. Right, and you have superiority dice that you can use on your stuff.
Yes,
right?
on making Lane do things for me.
Just keep saying that. It's gonna make Dave happy every time you say it. How many superiority dice do you have?
I have 4.
Nice, and
To start with,
they are
yeah.
D8s. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So superior.
Yeah.
Well, I was though. I changed my stats too. So I took 1 out of charisma and put it into, I think, wisdom.
Okay. Yeah, you reorganize that way.
Tom knows. He helped me. I don't remember.
Good.
It's different now.
Oh
that's
yeah,
all.
we're actually allowed to point by. I totally forgot about that.
Generally not really like instilling of confidence when you tell the GM, yeah, Twitch chat helped me make my character.
Yeah.
Hey, Blue Jay, guess what?
Yes.
Person who helped build your character, I killed them in D&D.
Yeah, I heard that. But I mean, I'm a
Just
member of your
saying,
party,
like-
so I hope that you don't kill me.
It's
D&D
really
power levels like work like this. Like he helped you be stronger, and I killed him. So I'm like,
What is this? The Dragon Ball Z?
I was about to say,
that's
it's
what I
important.
just said.
It's important when you're in.
I'm still gonna be like, hey, Lane, human, do this thing for me. And because of my commander strike, you're going to say probably yes.
Listen, we can save.
You're gonna die.
We can save the debates about
How does
whether or
that
not
work,
human society
actually,
needs to be ordered into
mechanically?
hierarchy.
How does
for
that work
tomorrow.
mechanically? If I commander strike somebody, do they have
No.
to do it?
No, they can be like, sorry, I don't
This
want to
creature
do that.
can immediately. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're not really a commander, you're more a suggester.
Mm.
Suggester's strike.
Suggestion strike.
Suggestive strike turns it into something very different.
Yeah,
now.
suggestive strike is a whole other thing. Oh dear. All right. So is anybody else making any changes, sweeping or otherwise?
I bought a shield and a longsword so I can fuck about and have higher AC all the time, except I'm attacking.
All right, so you bought a shield.
What I really want to say is I'm a monk now, but I'm not. I'm not a monk. My monk.
Kobold monk. Oh my god, I want you to be a kobold monk so badly.
Don't say that and then make me tempted actually for real.
I mean, think about how great it is, though.
It's kind of great.
You get pack tactics, and you're a fucking monk. You have so many attacks, and you get pack tactics.
Advantage.
Mhm.
Dexterity 17. Just
Yeah,
Because
and then you
you're-
get 1 level of rogue, so you can sneak attack, or 2 levels of rogue.
oh my god, holy crap! That would actually be really good. Jesus.
Because you would, yeah, a flurry of blows would be what, 3 sneak attacks around?
Yeah,
I think you can only sneak attack once around,
Right,
but
you can only
it's-
do it once.
flurry of blows is still at advantage every roll with pack tactics.
Is your unarmed damage lower if you're small?
No,
It's not based on
no.
your size?
5th edition does not change it. I had a gnome monk that was really good.
So the only changes for my character are some spell rearranging.
Mhm.
So I have healing word now instead of one of my first level spells, and I took aid instead of one of my second level spells. I can't remember which.
And
That'll be really-
you got rid of that healing spell that you
Prayer of healing? No, apparently it's good, but just as like out of combat healing.
yeah, it's good for short rests.
Yeah, or like when you don't get to rest, I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't know. I looked at all the other second level spells and they aren't that good. So
Second level traditionally is rife with terrible spells, unless you like Melf's Acid Arrow.
Yeah, Crown of Madness is pretty good.
Sure is.
Driving people mad would be fun.
look, for a cleric,
Oh right,
it's not
yeah.
so great. I have mirror image though, which is really good. So
Yeah,
I
that
think
should
that's
keep
just
it
gonna be
alive.
my spell I use all the time.
Just one quick rules thing while we're going through the changes. Commander's Strike, when it is expended, I add the superiority die to my damages attack roll. So, following the way that we've been dealing with
Yeah,
Smite,
you get to
and
re-roll them.
Yeah, cool. Just
Yeah,
wanted to make sure because I knew it would come up.
Yeah. Any based on the way we've been rolling it so far, any additional dice added to that pool, whether it comes from Smite or being shouted at by a drow, you can re-roll them. on the
Being
one.
shouted at by a drow.
You better go update that macro, Dave. Get ready. Sniveling strike. That's pretty good, too.
Am I a monk now? Maybe.
I mean, you don't have to be.
BRB
No.
must turn into monk.
Please don't. Like, fine if you want to, but give me a week to fill the holes that.
Please.
That's pretty
Fine
good.
if you want to, just not right now. We need.
Wait until you're level 5 and then
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, everything will solidify at 5, so that's fine. And yeah, and it won't be. I want to give y'all a one last chance. So even if at the end of a session, if I'm like, cool, you get enough experience to hit level 5, before the next time that we play or before the next adventure, you can be like, okay, these are my final choices. It won't just be like, haha, too bad you're playing this at level 4, so now you're stuck. It's you'll have that last opportunity to continue.
Basically, you can
playing
just
the
be like,
ranger.
don't put these experience points on yet. We're gonna put them over here.
Yeah, exactly. You can become level 5 and organize that however you want before we were.
Yeah, you only get the XP when you rest at camp.
We become level 5 and all of us change to drastically different characters.
It's totally
Ignis
that's
is
the
going
thing.
to cook us a stat boosting meal and feed our chocobo greens.
No, not a stat boosting
just
meal.
finished
Just eat your cup noodles and shut up about it. Cool. All right. Well, if everybody is up to date and ready to roll, let's get on with it, shall we? Let's play some Dungeons and Dragons. So today marks the beginning of adventure number 8 of season 1 of Tyranny of Dragons. This adventure is called Tales Trees Tell, and it's gonna have some elves. So it's as we mentioned before, it's 10 days after, give or take, after the last adventure. You have some downtime days that you can spend and do all that stuff with, and you have found yourselves you found yourself drawn to a town outside of Flan. Flan has it become maybe unpalatable for you of late, and you've taken an opportunity to go upriver and get away from town for a little bit. What, the Flan is a food and I used unpalatable there? No, totally unintentional, but
Okay.
we'll let it stand. So you've heard rumors that there have been some folks going missing from a town up the Stogeno River, a town called Cable's Hill. Cable's Hill has had some disappearances of late, and there's been some rumors of varying degrees about what it might be. Some people say that it's there's a dragon in the quivering forest that's kidnapping people, and that's probably what got your attention. But there are a bunch of other rumors, vengeful spirits, that they unearthed an ancient like a burial ground, and the ghosts were kidnapping people. Like, there's rumors abound, but there is a reward that's been posted for adventurers who are willing to help. The Knights of the Black Fist can't operate outside of Flan, but they do occasionally hire folks or post a bounty for people to help out, because trade comes down the river from Stogeno. Flan needs to eat, and there are farms up that way, and so if there's trouble in the hinterlands, that means trouble for Flan in the future. So you've gone to investigate this potential bounty north of town. One thing I wanted to point out, and this is really cool, in the adventure in Tales Trees Tell, there's like a specific call out to certain sections of the adventure that might be a little extreme for some players. There's some apparently scary stuff that occurs in this adventure. I know y'all well enough to know like what tone to set on this, but I thought it was really cool that the adventure specifically calls out, like, in part 1, make sure you read this thing, in part 2 this section, and in part 3 this section, and like judge based on your players and like talk to them about. Warn the players in advance. There's a possibility that some of the descriptions might be a little extreme, and if players are sensitive, adjust the depictions accordingly. Isn't that cool?
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good job,
nice.
Spivey.
yeah, it's cool that's included in the adventure. So keep in mind that there are some moments that might be extreme for some players.
Oh God, extreme moments.
Extreme moments.
Is it like people playing poker and wagering their flesh?
It's
'Cause
people.
that was extreme.
It's people drinking Mountain Dew and going snowboarding.
I was gonna say I live for the extreme, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, bro, give me those extreme encounters. Oh boy. So you find yourself in the ski town of Cable's Hill. Cable's Hill's a lightly fortified hamlet. It's got a little like wooden palisade wall around it. It's up on a hill. It's about a day and a half north along a narrow stretch of the Stogeno River, which is the river that leads northwest from Flan towards the Quivering Forest. It's basically a small collection of houses and barns atop a low rise on the western bank of the river, and you can see on the other side of the river, you can see the edge of the Quivering Forest. Let me pop all you over to the map, and you can see kind of where you're at. Drag you all the way back over there through my accumulated maps. You notice I didn't put you on the boat
I was about
map.
to say,
Thank
complete.
you.
Yeah, I didn't.
Oh, can we see that burning pirate ship again, though?
No, it's not.
Just zoom right in on that burning pirate ship.
No burning
Wow,
pirate ship this time.
please.
All right, so you're kind of like up in this vicinity up here, of the Stogeno River, and I mean, how would you have gone there? Would y'all have like walked? Would you have taken a ferry upriver?
I think if it's all the same, I would totally rather not go on any boats or water for.
I mean,
Right.
Fair.
you're wearing
Right.
heavy armor. I can get that.
Do we?
I mean, I died in a swamp on a
Yeah.
boat.
Well, do
This
we
is
have
running water,
access
though.
to like horses, or would that be money?
No, we can take our carriage that we have
Oh, right, we have a
it's
carriage
squad
that I don't
car.
know about.
purchased. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we'll take the stagecoach.
Do you have a horse for it, or?
No,
We
I got
buy
2
our
draft horses and a stagecoach.
Yeah, we have the transportation. We have the power.
Wait, you actually got that?
I purchased it.
Remember? Do you not remember?
We took it to go fight pirates.
Yeah.
Really?
And then we
Oh,
died.
yeah, because they were the wolves. Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
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 Make Lane pull the carriage.
No. Graveris owns a car.
Yeah.
Basically.
It's true.
I'm the one friend with a car, so I have to drive you sons of bitches everywhere.
Yeah.
Totally okay with that.
You got that medieval Cadillac.
Yeah,
Okay.
Oleander can ride up front with me.
Yeah.
Hey.
Great.
All right. I guess I'll just sit in the back.
we're American graffiti now.
Me and Lane just sitting in the back of this cart, like staring at each other. Just
Trying,
No, look,
trying to
we're
not
just-
listen
we're
to them
just-
making out in the front.
Horses can drive themselves, pretty much. There's a road.
Riding in cars with drow.
Yeah, it's just gonna be 4 of us driving around the countryside having adventures, Adam.
I love that one. Oh, that's my favorite.
Yeah. Y'all are into this kind of thing, right? Y'all played many hours of this.
Oh
Yeah, we'll
boy.
talk about our feelings occasionally.
Really badly.
Yep.
No, if
All
it's
right.
on
Well,
the-
it's fine because your carriage breaks down, but there's a scantily clad mechanic who will fix it for you.
oh, good.
Oh, good.
So the basically the sign that you found in Flan, the bounty post, instructed you to visit the inn in town called the Leaky Bucket, and ask for more information. Ask for more information there. So that's where you're headed eventually. But as you sort of pull into town, you can see, this is very much like a little like farming town. There's some outlying farms, and there are mostly like houses for the farmers. There's a dock on the Stogeno River where the farmers all bring their material to be taken into Flan to sell. There are granaries to store anything that isn't immediately sold. There's a blacksmith shop and a general goods store and a stables, and that's it. There's no like stone buildings. They're all like wood, and there's no like temples here to any of the gods. Their worship is likely done in the home. Oh my god, Brainview just pointed out that they better have a car seat for Anastasia.
Yo, ain't no one got a seatbelt.
Oh, thank you.
Why you gotta call me out like that?
I mean, there are seatbelts, but nobody wears them except me.
Oh, thank you so much, Brainview. That's beautiful. Now I can't get the idea of a kobold in a car seat out of my head.
The tail would get in the way. The tail would get in the way.
There's a special compartment for the tail.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so the Leaky Bucket is an inn and tap room, and is from the outside as you roll up next to it. It seems to be like quite pleasant and homely. There's the smell of food coming from within, and the chimney is billowing light gray smoke up into the daytime sky. And there's the sounds of conversation from within. Now it's not like, you know, a raucous place, but there's obviously some people here, and and it seems welcoming. You can see a sign over the top with a little metal bucket with a hole in it and some water dripping out.
I find myself suddenly hungry. Shall we?
Well, we needed to talk to whoever was running this thing anyway, right? So
Okay.
head on inside, I guess.
Sure.
Yep.
All right. So immediately on the inside, as you walk in, you see to the right a metal bucket hanging from one of the rafters. It seems to serve no purpose except as a sort of totem. It's probably the thing that the place is named for. As you open the door, you can hear the conversation from that you could hear outside, the like murmurings. Ray is in volume, and a number of excited and angry voices kind of talk over one another. And over all of that, a man's voice says, "It's been over 10 days. What do you plan to do?" And then you open the door, and that kind of like they stop, and a bunch of people like look over at you. A few of them continue their argument, and you can see there's a male halfling standing on one of the tables, and he's got both his hands out in a sort of conciliatory pose, trying to calm down this group of a dozen people that's all around the table. There's another halfling, a woman, standing next to him, who is holding an iron skillet and is shouting at somebody who looks like he's trying to pick a fight with the person next to him. It seems like you've walked into the middle of an argument, and then everybody stops suddenly.
Everything goes slow-mo as we go through the door, and I'm like, and there's like light in my hair, and I'm looking all badass. Trying to look at the camera.
Yeah,
You know,
and
we
everybody
have
just
our
like
entrance.
As soon as you like stop in the entrance, I like was looking inside, didn't see you stop, and just like walk into the back of your leg, like ruin the dramaticness of your entrance entirely.
scamper in.
Yeah.
Before entering anything that undoubtedly is occupied by humans, I would have like put up my hood and been like, all like, I don't want them to not serve us because I'm a horrible, horrible drow.
Right. So as you come in, just the edge,
Yep.
the edge cloak comes
The
up.
edge
I
cloak.
mean, you've already got the edge cloak out because the hateful sun is bearing down on you.
Oh
with
shit,
its-
is it sunny right
Oh
now?
yeah, it's totally
Oh
sunny.
no. Oh, that sounds garbage. Yeah,
Mm.
okay.
It's not sunny. It's not sunny inside, but like you've been riding outside
Ugh.
with the sun glaring down on you.
You know, Gravaris, I must really like you if I'm willing to sit in sunlight when I could be in a carriage, right? So
Mhm.
Well, you don't
Yeah.
have one of those those 2-person makeout cloaks.
Yeah, of course.
yeah, those 2-person makeout cloaks. I must have missed that in the shop when I went there
It's
for all my.
it's on the equipment list.
On the equipment list.
Right past it. All right.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, so when you walk in, everybody suddenly like shuts up and looks over at you, and the halfling, the one who's standing on the table, turns red. He blushes immediately, and he's like, "Oh, oh my!" and like jumps down from the table and kind of like scrambles over to you, Gravaris. And he says, he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Don't mind them. Things have been a little tense in town of late. How can I help you? Do you need a room? Are you travelers headed north, south, going to Flan? What can I do for you?" And he kind of like puts his little chubby hand out to like shake yours. He's
I'll, like, take his hand.
Yeah, he's like a middle to like late middle age halfling. He's got big bushy sideburns that is kind of going gray. I mean, it's hard to tell because all halflings are a little on the pudgy side, but he's like quite round. He lives a comfortable life here at the inn, and he's just kind of like, he shakes your hand and he says, yes, anything you need. We're open to travelers. Don't mind this rabble. And someone in the group like starts saying something, and then you see the woman halfling like stare him down, like, "Shut up, you." And then they all kind of like go back to like grumbling among themselves.
Something going on?
Yes, don't feel the need to stop on our account.
He shakes his head and his little like ringlets kind of bounce around. And he's like, no, nothing you folks need to worry yourselves about. And then he like notices that there's a kobold with you, but it can speak, and there's humans, and he kind of like looks at you, and his eyes go a little wide, like, "Oh, okay." And
My
he leads you to a
associates and
table.
I are here pursuing a bounty.
Oh, yes, yeah, of course. Well, why don't you have a seat? You'll want to speak with my wife. She knows more about these things than I do. Can I get you something to drink?
Yes. And I just like speak up from under my cloak, like, "Yes, you can serve us."
Yeah, he looks up at you and his eyes go wide. He can't really see your face because it's not bright in here, but
I mean, but he's also looking up as opposed to like at, so
yeah, it's shadowy, and he kind of looks up. He's like, "Oh my," and he looks at the rest of you like,
Yes, we're all quite hungry and thirsty.
"Yeah, I'll
And I
fetch you.
like usher him along.
Yeah, I'll fetch you food and drink right away." And he kind of scrambles off, and you see him stop and talk to the woman for a minute, and then go off to the kitchen in the back.
I make my way over to a free table and pull myself up onto the bench and sit down.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you don't quite reach the table sitting.
Well,
down
it's one of
there.
those things where it's like, okay, the bench is like here, so it's like, yep, like
Yeah, you could stand on the bench, and then you're like chin level with the table.
take my giant fucking book off my shoulders.
I guess you could use it as a stool, right?
Yeah,
you
sit
can
on
use
it.
it as
Yeah.
a booster seat.
I put it down on the bench and I just sit on it so that I'm at the right level while I'm sitting to at least have my head above the table.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So you're like shoulder level with everyone else, but you have several layers of stuff stacked below you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So the woman comes over, and she's of an age with the other halfling that you saw, like kind of late middle age. She carries herself much more confidently, like where her her companion, her husband, seemed like nervous to talk to you. She strides across the room. She's left her frying pan on the other table, so she's empty-handed. And she's dressed like more nicely than he is. Like he's wearing like a tunic with like patched elbows and an apron, and she's got like a laced doublet and like an ascot. Like she looks quite nice. Not like fancy, but fancy for this town probably. And she comes over to the table and introduces herself. She says, "Welcome to the Leaky Bucket, travelers. I'm Grinna." And she, I guess, Gavaris, you're maybe the closest. Or actually, Lane, I think you're closer to her when she walks over, and she like bows to you.
I understand that you have a problem here. Perhaps that is what you were discussing before we entered.
She grins and says, "Well, right now the only problem is that I have 4 guests whose names I don't know."
Well, I'm normally...
We're all just like silent.
Yeah, everyone just
Okay.
glowers at each other.
There's like this moment of silence where I'm expecting Lane to talk, like, and introduce himself, and then I kind of just go like, okay, well, I guess I'll start.
You're also fucking edgy, like, I'm Lord Dark Raven. This is my companion, Black Skull.
I'm Anastasia. Me.
She
There's the like kobold 3-fingered reptile hand thing going on.
yeah, no, she takes your hand, she shakes it. Kobold gold is as good as anybody's. And she shakes your hand and she says pleased to meet you. That's a lovely name. I've never met anyone. And she's trying to think of a way, like she doesn't know if kobolds is an offensive word or not. She's like,
it's a very long story. Suffice to say, magic is tricky.
She nods and she's like, oh, say no more. I understand. You look like you live a dangerous life. She looks at you and she's like, you're exactly the kind of people we need. And who are your friends?
That one is Lane. That one is Oleander. And that one is Graveris.
She says to the table, well, it's a pleasure to meet all of you. So, you're here about the bounty. Those no good Black Fist. I swear, if they ever manage to drag themselves out from behind their desks or out of their brothels or wherever it is that they are in Flan and came upriver, maybe we could get some problems solved. I mean, no offense, I'm sure you all do good work, but mercenaries, I don't know.
Yes, I agree. The Black Fist are ineffectual and generally not very helpful for most things. Get in the way, you know.
Are y'all from Flan? You live there? I mean, no offense. I personally wouldn't go to the place if it was my last choice, but different strokes, right?
It has its charms, I suppose. Yes, I lived there. These people.
It's a good source of employment for people in our line of work. You understand.
She nods. I think I do at that. So you'll be wanting information, I suppose. Now, the way the Black Fist told us they'd be paying this, you're not coming looking for gold from me or my kin, I hope. We're just here to point people in the right direction. Though, to be fair, the post's been up for some time, and, well, you're the first that have come.
Well, we're here now, so...
Generally, you don't ask people to do work without offering them something in return. Or is that not how things are done here?
Oh, she nods. She says, well, of course. I mean, you find out what happened, and we'll deal with it, and the Black Fist will pay you. It's how it goes. They should be here themselves, but, well, overworked, I guess.
Trust me, you may believe that they would help you in this situation, but I tend to find they cause more problems than they end up solving.
That.
However, we're going to be happy to assist in this particular situation.
We'll
unfinish business with disappearances.
Yeah, she smiles and she says, well, good. This town's a peaceful place most of the time. I'd like to keep it that way. And she looks over at the group of people at the table.
Would you like me to talk to them? I can talk to them. No problem.
She shakes her head. No, I feel like that might just make it worse. They're a suspicious lot, and things are tense. We'll get a few beers in them and let them go back home to their families. They're just concerned. And besides, with y'all folk here, they're not going to feel so pressed to do anything on their own.
Are those men, are their family members missing? Is that why they're so upset?
Well, let me tell you what happened. Figure it started some 6 months ago with a man named Halvin Grangle, which, as an aside, can we just say, this is my favorite NPC name of the entire game so far.
Grangle?
Mr. Grangle. Mr. Halvin Grangle. So yeah, the problem started when Halvin moved to town. We had an abandoned barn, and he was looking to start a farm, and so he paid the town for it and set up shop. He's a bit of an eccentric, right? Not born and raised in this area, came from somewhere elsewise, out west, I think. But he kept to his own and sold wood carvings, I think. Grew small trees. he kept to his own, and we don't like to pry here. So the thing is, about a month back, he stopped coming in to town proper. Wasn't bringing us carvings to sell. No one had seen him, and most folk here, we buy what we need from Colvin's, and well, Colvin himself hadn't seen him either, and so we got to worrying. Few of the villagers went to pay him a visit, but he weren't nowhere to be found. All his things were still there, but he was gone. She's fishing around in her pockets for something, which gives you a chance to speak. She's like,
So he just disappeared? No one's heard anything?
She nods. And the thing is, it wouldn't be so strange, him being a stranger to town, coming and going as he pleases and all, except for this. And she pulls out a folded piece of paper, and she puts it on the table.
A note.
Puts it on the table. Yeah, it's got a big black handprint on it. It's like, you failed us for the last time, Grangle.
Yeah.
No, it's a map. She unfolds it and she says, best we can figure, it's a map of the Quivering Forest. See some of the notes on this map, and you can see like it's a hand-drawn map of, it's got like the town and the river and the forest. There's a few areas in the forest with like X's on them. One of the areas is labeled Greenhall, and she points to it and she says, see, this is what's worrisome. And actually anybody can, if you want to, make a history check when you see the word Greenhall on the paper.
Ooh, might I actually do so? Oh, wait, I'm not trained in history. Why am I excited? I'm gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
Graveris doesn't. Greenhall is the name of a beer you enjoyed once.
It was good beer.
If anybody else wants to roll, you can as well. It doesn't just have to be one person.
Oh wait, I thought it was.
Should we do someone assisting someone else and remembering, perhaps?
I think this is just like the back of your head, like somebody.
Okay.
Everybody can make a roll, and
I'm not
if you
great.
reckon-
Dave, remember.
Whoa, Lane.
But just because I
Whoa.
want to see. Okay, I just
Whoa.
want to see.
Dave
Not
knows some history, as does Anastasia.
Not good enough to get one crit, but two.
Not one, but two.
Good. All right, Lane, you've brought back the grand histories of the dead. Yeah, Anastasia, you and Lane both recognize the name Greenhall. It's an elven settlement in the Quivering Forest, and it is known predominantly in this region because humans have kind of written the history of this area. It's known as something of an enemy stronghold in that there were tensions when humans first settled here. We'll say tensions politely between the elves and the humans, because the Quivering Forest used to be much larger than it is now. So human loggers that came into the area in the first area started like ripping down trees. There was a slight, we'll say a conflict. The elves might have called it a war. I don't know. That's up to them. There was a conflict between the two species, and Greenhall is kind of one of the foremost like remaining elven settlements.
Quick question. When we did the adventure with the wood from the Quivering Forest and that dragon thing, was that Saris?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I just
Yep.
wanted to get that straight in my head.
Okay, so this Elven Hall is what we learned, like, and that they had conflict. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So she shows you the map, and she says based on this, well, we figure he's probably gone into the forest, which
So
means trouble for all of us.
conflict with the local population, perhaps.
She nods, and she says, more than that. See, there's a pact, a truce made long ago, end the difficulties between the elves and the humans of this region. We made a promise not to cross the river and go out into the forest, not a one of us. And if that's where old Grangle's gone, it means trouble for everybody. Those elves, and she looks kind of sidelong at either Graveris or Oleander. It's hard to tell. She's like, those elves, they take these sort of
Graveris
things
is
real
no longer
seriously.
an elf, right?
He's a half elf.
Half
right?
elf.
I thought he changed to Did you change back? Okay.
Yeah, still, it's confusing.
I'm saying, like, if he's not an elf, that changes
I
things.
can just disguise myself as an elf.
Listen,
Or
Mask
even
has
no problem.
assisted a great deal in many things. Yeah.
No, it's just my mistake. I thought that was an ASMR thing that happened. I guess it was a potential
Oh no,
ASMR
that was a discussion, but not.
Yeah. So she looks over at the two of you and she says, as you can see, we got worried, and well, some folk 2 weeks back, they figured it had been long enough waiting to see if the elves would come and, take our children away and what have you. And so they went into the forest after them. Now we ain't seen or heard from them either.
So I guess we send a third group, i.e., me and these other three, and we also check for the second group.
She nods and she says, if it weren't for you folk, I feel this would probably just continue as it goes until the whole village is empty and ain't nothing but me and my husband here. That's what we were trying to dissuade these folk of. They wanted to go into the forest after their friends. Well, I mean, we can't continue this way.
While I would not normally consider breaking this kind of treaty, especially since we are the wronging party here, and historically, perhaps there is something we can do diplomatically that perhaps these disgruntled villagers may not have had the capacity for.
I mean, the like word diplomatic, I like smirked, like.
I mean, if it's already been broken, then I think we are sort of on the right track for continuing a dialogue rather than anything else. Us going over there isn't going to increase problems, I don't think.
Right, like
I'm just like
the treaty's already been broken, so whatever. Plus, also the treaty doesn't say anything about kobolds.
Kobolds can come and go as they please.
It's in the law.
And just to make sure, the Scrangle was a human as well?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then
So, I would just.
I'm glad Scrangle was so funny.
I can't get over it. It's just such a silly name.
So I address the woman, and I. So you just want to know what happened? Do you want us to bring the men back, or?
She laughs and she says, "Well, I'm not personally too attached to any of them. Most of them got husbands, or most of them got wives, and I got a husband. But we need villagers if we're gonna keep the inn running, and customers are nice to have." And
so that's a yes.
She nods. Well, yes. I mean, I figure we deserve to know at least what happened to them, and if the treaty's been broke, well, Flan's gonna want to know about it because things will get worse before they get better.
Well then, let's go talk to the elves, shall we?
She says, "Well, before you go, here," and she fishes out a key on a piece of string. She hands it to you, and she says, "It's the key to Grangle's hut. We found it in the lock. You might want to go and take a look around." She looks at you and she says, "You all seem to have a better handle on the way these things go, and we might have missed something. And keep the map." And she pushes it towards you, and she says, "Maybe it'll help you find your way in the forest. I hear there's strange things out there."
Yes, thank you. All right, so we'll check out the hut, and then we'll see if there's any cause to go further. If Grangle has just wandered himself out into a field somewhere and expired, problem solved, really. But everybody else disappearing, not so great. Working on it. Okay. I look to the rest of everybody because I'm kind of just talking to myself here.
We can discuss more outside, Anastasia.
Yeah, and I think at this point, Grinna's husband brings your food and drinks, so you can eat and dry your parched throats from the long trip before you head out. So
lovely, thank you.
So while the characters take a break and eat some food, why don't we take a quick break and we'll come back and y'all can go check out the House of Grangle, see if there's any clues.
Wrangle our Grangle.
That's right. Wrangle your Grangle. Everybody hold on to your Grangles. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with more Dungeons and Dragons. Yes, Dave. That's right. There's more. Stick around.